whether you're a police officer, a bodyguard, or an armed citizen can very well save your life.
Marquez came from behind a deputy's patrol car.
Stance that has been used for thousands of years when people were still going. Today we're going to explore a step that can very well save your life. Not figuratively, but in a very literal sense. A police officer in Florida just a few days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, he fell prey to not knowing this step. And I want you guys, whether you're a police officer, a bodyguard, or an armed citizen, to not make the same mistake that he did. And I want you guys to be prepared. Watch. Hey!
The Marion County Sheriff's Office says this body cam video captured the moment Heriberto Medina Marquez came from behind a deputy's patrol car and attacked him with a pocket knife. The deputy fell to the ground after Marquez tried to stab him, then got on top of him, aiming for his chest. The deputy's vest spared him from getting severely hurt. Marquez then ran into the woods. The deputy chased him while calling for backup.
Now, I see these kind of situations over and over in the dojo or in training ranges or whenever close quarter combat with simunition is being practiced. People, they keep falling. You practice a knife attack, a person falls over, they lose their balance, they fall over, and usually the other person ends up on top, hacking away. That's pretty much what happened to this police officer too. But it wouldn't have to be this way. It's just being trained incorrectly. And there's actually a stance that has been used for thousands of years when people were still going at each other with swords and with knives, just like this guy was attacking him with a knife, that has been forgotten and it's not being practiced anymore. Even the NRA now, when they practice close quarter combat, they say you should shuffle backwards and so that you feel what's behind you. But that keeps like 90% out of it. Yeah, you want to feel what's behind you, but you also don't want your feet together, because if your feet are together and you have backward momentum, you're going to fall while your feet are being blocked and the feet are together, so you're going to fall. And that's why police officers, like what happened here in Florida, why they fall all the time. They're being ambushed, someone comes at them, their feet are together and they fall backwards because they have never trained for a situation like that. But today we are going to train for this situation. And we're going to practice something that is very prevalent in fencing, boxing, karate, and martial arts, which have a very deep-rooted history, obviously, in combat, in physical combat, which is why we're gonna borrow some tricks from these martial arts. If you don't take anything away or if you want to take one thing away from this video and nothing else, it's keep your weight distribution 50-50 between the two legs, and your center of gravity should be low. If your center of gravity is low and your weight distribution is this way, you're not gonna fall. You cannot fall because you can shuffle back, so you will feel what's behind you, but your body will not overshoot and will cause you to tip over. That's the whole idea behind it. But now we have to be able to move. We have to be able to move quickly. Someone ambushes us, we have to be able to get into our fighting mode. And that's what we're going to practice today with a few very nifty techniques that I promise you have never seen that will help you. But like with everything, you have to practice everything. You have to practice it on a constant basis. It's not going to help you if you practice it once. You're like, okay, I do this and that's how I'm going to do it. It's not going to be learned in a weekend. You have to practice this 10,000 times for it to become part of you. But before we continue, please do me a favor. If you like these kind of videos, combat, firearms, etc. related, make sure you like this video and you subscribe to my channel. All right, guys, so let's start it. The first thing you want to do, you want to be able to get into this position instinctively. What I would advise you to do, if you don't know which side should be forward, just, have someone close your eyes and have someone push you from behind, and whatever foot goes forward first, that's usually the foot that you want in front. Now, let's assume you know this already. So 50-50 weight distribution. The further your legs are apart, actually, the lower your center of gravity is, and the harder it is for you to fall over. However, obviously, it's going to tire you out. So you want to get into a comfortable stance, just like a boxing stance, like that. You don't have to put your hands up right now, but at least keep your chin down. I want you to practice that, because it protects a lot of vital areas here, and also it protects you from blunt impact force against your head, because your head is not gonna fling back. So you wanna get into this position. So let's just go a few times from here into this position. Let's do 10 times. Just practice from here. Boom. From here. Boom. From here. Boom. Make sure 50-50 weight distribution. Boom. And you don't have to practice both sides, by the way. Just, I'm regular left foot forward, so I'm not a southpaw, so I've always just practiced with this side, and it has always served me very well. So again, boom. 50-50 weight distribution. That's the step one. All right, once you got this down, we got to practice moving. Now, a lot of people, when they move from this, they practice this. We don't step. We don't do that. Stepping is what gets you in trouble. We glide over the floor. We go bum, 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 bum. Get a feel for it. You can go back, forth like this. That's how you would feint in boxing too, but just go forward, back. Can you imagine? Because now, if you would go like this, you could fall. But can you imagine how solid you're standing if you're just shuffling like this? You're gonna feel whatever is behind you. You're gonna stop, step over, boom. So let's just go back, forward, back, forward. All right, once you got this down, forward and backward movement, you want to get a little obstacle that you can put behind yourself, so that you can get a feel for what it feels like if there's an obstacle. Because naturally, you don't want to experience that kind of feeling once someone is over you with a knife. You want to experience it now, so that your body learns instinctively how to react. So what I use here is, I have this little heavy, very thin heavy bag here. Just gonna put it out on the floor here. Hopefully you guys can see it in the video. And from here, I get into my stance and I go back. Oh, I felt it. Felt it. Felt it. See, I have now at this point, I have so much rigidity in my step here, in the way I keep my legs, that there is no chance for me to fall over. Like, I would rather be stopped here than to fall over. But let's say, you know, I'm a police officer, I'm being ambushed, someone comes here, I would definitely fall. If you get into like the stepping backwards, you're gonna fall. So from here, 10 times. Do it fast, like literally, like bump into it from here. See? See? Even if you do it very forcefully, if you lose your balance a little bit, like your leg goes up a little bit, but you still have the 50-50 weight distribution, so you're gonna go back down. Practice that 10 times. All right, next level up. If you have a heavy bag like me here, use it. You can actually use it to surprise you to a certain extent and to practice this. So here, we just push the heavy bag, and once the heavy bag gets close, we go back. See, like you have to get into your stance quickly, and you have to really be rigid in the way you're standing, because there's not a lot of space. Most likely in real life, you won't have something right behind you, because, you know, otherwise you wouldn't have stepped into this kind of situation. But you've got to train for worst case. So, see? And here I have it so that I can barely like get into the stand now. Like literally, it's like right behind me. So. And again, this is just so that your body gets a feel for what does it feel like if I'm in backwards motion, there's something that could trip me. And how do I stay rigid enough so that I don't fall? All right, so last now we're gonna use our firearm because that's obviously what it's about. If this is a situation like that, we wanna get this out quickly, angle it out again, because so that it doesn't get caught in clothing, and we wanna engage the threat from here. And so now we're gonna do the same little drill that we did. Give yourself a little more space here, because obviously in real life you're gonna move back a little bit. You wanna get your foot back first, and you're not gonna probably step into a curb where you like step over and here's the threat and there is whatever makes you trip. So you probably wouldn't get yourself in a situation like that, but you still want a good fall hazard behind you. By the way, all of these things you practice at your own risk. If you fall, it's not my problem. Don't do them if you can't move. All right, so from here, boom. See, I would have taken them out there. Ah, see, lost the grip there. So I got to practice. Bah, bah. It's closer. All right, next step. Obviously, if he's coming at you, swinging something like the guy in Florida, you want to have your arm out so that you can give him at least a little push. I showed you in my other video how I would employ a tactical jab. If he comes at me, tries to jab me, I'm going to take him out. I'm going to knock him out. But at least get your arm out as some kind of frame. Be aware, there are vital spots here, obviously. So don't just have the arm out as like a, oh, don't do anything to me. If you put your arm out, like with anything in combat, you push. Don't just be, oh. That's not combat. Combat is, he comes at you, anything we do hurts him, potentially injures him, even if it's just a shove. Practice. Also practice the cross face, etc. Obviously in this situation, Florida, he was very close. If you cross face, he's probably gonna just shank you. So be aware, practice your reflexes, practice these kind of things. Your body will react once it's muscle memory. You have to be very good, by the way, if you do that, because you might shoot yourself in the hand if you do that. Like I have my hand instinctively up because I practice it a lot. I'm not gonna shoot myself in the hand, and it's a life or death situation. Like I'd rather shoot myself in the hand than be stabbed. All right, so now we're gonna do the same. We push, and then the backwards motion. I personally have simunition. I'm gonna shoot for real, because here, if I make a mistake and shoot my hand, for example, I'm gonna feel it. I'm not gonna do it again. That's why I like to practice with simunition. You can get your repetition in, and there's not a very severe consequence other than some bruises. By the way, you will see the more steps you get into it with the 50-50 weight distribution push and using a firearm, the harder it's gonna get. So practice it 10,000 times. As I said before, anything you do in close quarter combat is point shooting. You're not gonna be aligning your sights, you're gonna point and you're gonna shoot. So you have to become very accurate if you wanna be effective in close quarter combat. Now I'm gonna show you a little trick with simunition that you can use at home, for example, if you have a practice gun like this one, or in your department, ranges, wherever, with simunition. Don't practice with real ammo, but you can use those to really become very accurate when it comes to close quarter combat and point and shoot. So as you guys can imagine, we're gonna shoot these. A tennis ball is actually great for, also I used it for boxing for a lot, but you can use it just as well with simunition, because once you hit it, it's gonna start moving. You're gonna try to do follow-up hits, and you increase the distance gradually. And whenever, now the heavy bag is the good guy, whenever you clear the heavy bag, I want you to go back into Sool, shoot, Sool, shoot, Sool, shoot, so that we get both tennis balls. There is one here that's a little lower and one here that's a little higher. All right, let's do it. See how it's moving? Really hard to hit them.